Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I can introduce to you the Holy Gematria Studio. This is a very great tool. I mean, this tool is... I never thought I would be able to make such an incredible tool, but it is done. It is amazing. So this tool is very cool if you are into geometry, into polygons, and centered polygons. That is, I can show you. You can generate geometry, numbers, or geometry made up of counters. So this is triangle, and that is 3 sides, and we select the order here. So let's say order 21, and we can do autofill here. So then we get it, and you can select the color here. So let's say you want another color. You just go clear grid, autofill grid, and you got the new color. And you can do every single geometric shape with this that is standard, and that is absolutely amazing. I never thought I would be able to do this, but this is possible. So if you want to make something alternative that is not a standard geometric shape, you can select the hexagonal grid number 2, this one, and you can just select a big size here of your wanting, and you can actually just place counters by left clicking and holding the button, or just click. That is, and if you want to delete them, you just click or hold the right button and you delete them. So you can make a lot of alternative stuff with this when it comes to shapes and geometry. And you can select, and if you hold shift, you can select several like this, and then you can color them something else. Yeah, give it another color. And if you want to select, click and drag, you can do this and just move the shape to wherever you want. You cannot, when it comes to the drag selection, you can't start from here, from outside the grid itself. You have to be within the grid. So just take note of that, because you might want to make the grid larger than the shape you're making because of this. Okay, so let's go back to the standard polygons. This is square, and let's take a lesser order so we can see it. And instead of autofilling with circles, we can just make them square like this. So you see there is a change. You can select either circle or squares, but we're gonna use circle because that's standard. And if I want the pentagon, that is 5 sides, I can do this at any order as usual. Hexagon, that is 6 sides. Heptagon, that is 7 sides. Octagon, that is 8 sides. Nonagon, that is 9 sides. Centered triangle, because you have centered versions of all these polygons. So this is a centered triangle. This is a centered square. This is a centered pentagon, 5 sides. Centered hexagon, 6 sides. Centered heptagon, 7 sides. Centered octagon, 8 sides. Centered nonagon, 9 sides. Now you can get 10 sides and 11 sides and how many sides you want, but I have tried to do this, and well, it is kind of limited, because if it gets big enough and many sides enough, you won't be able to see the number of sides, and I can show you that in the end. But let's try to generate a 10-sided polygon. Well, then we have to go to the options up here and select polygons and 10 here, and here you got it. These are called decagons, and there are 10 sides on this. And you can take 21 sides if you want. It is possible. And you have the centered versions also. You can do this with 21 sides. I like using 21 because I own 777 codes, and 21 is 7 plus 7 plus 7. And you have polygrams, and that is, I have never seen it. I've never seen anything of this before, really. Polygrams is the final type of shape, or yeah, main shape, you can call it, category of shapes. And it's stars. Some people just call them stars. This 5 sides on polygrams is a pentagram. And 6 sides is a hexagram, the same shape as the Star of David. And then you have 7 sides, that is a heptagram. And 8 sides is an octagram. And 9 sides is a nonagram. And then you have 10 sides, which is a decagram. And you can do this again to as many sides you want. And let's do the ridiculous big ones now. Let's take order 137 and with 137 sides, and you'll see what happens. Okay, it gets laggy because now it's literally over 1 million counters, 1.2 million counters here, right? So let's try to zoom in. So you can see the counters when you zoom in, but when you do an export, image export, let's try to do that. You can select up to 12K. And I've not tested this with 12K, but I think I tested it with 16K, and I don't think you're gonna see them. But let's try 16K and export PNG. Now the PNG will come up in the same folder as where you install the program. The problem is that I'm not totally sure if I'm using that or another file that I'm actually building the program on. Let me see. Let's see, maybe it didn't generate because it's so big. Let's try to restart this program. Oh, it comes in help export, and that's something I'm going to have to fix. So the export folder actually comes in here and not in the help file, but that will be fixed later today. So let's check out the image. This is 12K resolution image, so you know the image is 10 megabytes. and you cannot zoom in. Okay, you can't. So it's, if you're gonna export, you can just tell them this, that the resolution isn't high enough to capture the whole image. But you know, you can do exports of pretty large stuff here. Let's take order 37 of a polygram at order 37. That's pretty large. Okay, let's here. No, it doesn't matter how much I've zoomed in, because the export will capture the image anyway. So it takes some seconds before we get the image, because it's so large when you do 12K. Let's try again. Not sure if pretty sure I clicked it there, but let's try again. Oh, now it came in the correct folder, the export. Wow, that's a bug. So the first image will come in the help file. So here you got the image. So yeah, that's a bug. The first export file will come in the help folder, and then it will come as it should in the normal folder where it is installed. So yeah, that's a tiny bug, no problem. But anyways, we have to move on. So you have a good understanding of everything here. You can choose color, you can save the colors, like you see here. And yeah, I think we've covered everything. If you select hexagonal 2 grid, then you can input commands here, like R1, C1 to row number 1. Oh, it's not 2, it's X multiplied. X row 1, column number 13. And you get the 13 first rows here. So you can do that. Okay, so this is the main and most incredible part of the calculator. This mode is called polygon mode. You select modes here and polygon mode to get in there. Then you have the graphing part, and that's not the main feature, that's just an additional feature to make this calculator a bit more attracting. That's all it is. And then you have the general functions of math. So when you install this calculator, you can select how many numbers you want this calculator to store, like primes up to 1 million or 10 million or 100 million. That's the choices you have. And it's not just primes, it's composites, it's lucky numbers, it's happy numbers, it's semi-primes, it's Pythagorean prime numbers, palindromes, most of the number theory things you would like. And you have all kinds of polygons, centered polygons and polygrams encoded in here also. If you read the help file, you have an oversight over every function and abbreviation that is used for these functions. So it's very important that you read the help file. And another thing I forgot to mention, when you install this calculator, Windows Defender, your antivirus on Windows, will flag a virus here that isn't a virus, okay? It will give you a false positive. And the reason this happens is because Windows has a bit scummy practice when it comes to how how it manages viruses, because when people make a new program in a particular programming language like I have done, the program we make can be tend to be flagged as virus, and we have to submit that program to Windows and pay Windows like $200, around $200, and I refuse to do that. So yeah, I can tell you this is not virus in this program or any spyware. Okay, so you have to, when Microsoft tells you that it's found the Win32 Bearfoss virus, then you have to just make an exception for this program to work. And I have worked over 1 year with this program, and I wouldn't mess it up with putting any spyware in this or virus. So yeah, let's continue. So if I want prime number 37, and when I install this calculator, you can select the size or how many primes you want the calculator to use, and you can select either using 1 or number 2 as the first prime. I have selected 1 as the first prime. So then we see prime number 37 comes up here. And when a number comes up, you can press the up or down keyboard button to see the mathematical properties of the number you get. These are all abbreviations. This is centrodecagon. This is prime. This is lucky prime. This is palindromic prime. This is lucky number. This is palindromic number. Every of those abbreviations is in the help file. So if I want triangle number 37 here, I can just input try 37 and it will give me triangle 37. You can do calculations with this, like triangle number 37 plus triangle 73, right? And you get this number, and you can check the properties. And yeah, trihex, you see it says trihex here. That is triangle plus hexagon. And this is centered triangle plus centered hexagon number 28. This is just interesting if you are dealing with Bible codes and gematria and decoding verses or anything gematria Bible related. Then this is interesting. If you don't want these combined polygons and polygrams, you just go to the features and uncheck this. That way you won't get this anymore. See? So yeah, if I want heptagram 21, I get this here, and these figures has their own colors. Heptagrams has these color, the golden color. Triangles has this color. Squares has this color. Pentagons has this color. I don't think hexagons are not colored because so many triangles are hexagons, so we have to skip those. Heptagons are colored as this. Octagons is colored as this. Nonagons is colored as this. And decagons has this color. That is 10 sides. And then you have a slightly different color but similar color, I think a bit darker version of this when you go to centered. So centered triangle is this, it's that colors, and if you look at triangle, it's this. So it's I'm trying a bit more darker version of that. Or different, but almost the same. So centered square is this. Centered pentagon, I think, is just the same color as pentagon, that is just white. I couldn't do anything about that. Centered hex, I think that is skipped. The hexagons. No, that is not skipped. Centered hexagons has the color of pink. And centered heptagons is yellow, and you can see the difference because this is heptagons. It's a slight difference. Centered octagons, slight difference from octagons, as you see here. Maybe not so slight, but anyways. Nonna, Nonna, Nonna. That's because the triangle feature activated on that. Centered nonagons. Many triangles are the same as centered nonagons, so that's why this is happening. Let's try another. No, it doesn't. I think is every centered nonagon a triangle? Yeah, every centered nonagon is a triangle, apparently. So, but CDK should go. Yeah, and that is white, because centered decagons is the same as pentagram. So it will be white. But it will list as centered decagons, never pentagram here, because that is more standard. But you all centered decagons and pentagrams are the same. So it doesn't matter what you call it, centered decagon or pentagram. And yeah, you can, if I want to add triangles ordered at the 1, 3 and 7, I can just do it like that. And it will give me this. If I want to add the triangles from order 3 to 7, I can just input this. Try 3 to try 7. So, and you can do this with all types of math, like pry 3 to pry 7. Pry 1, 3, 7. And it doesn't matter if you can go wild here, like pry 3, 7, because it will add these 3, 7 plus composites ordered at 3, 7, 8. Now, if you are interested in Bible gematria, then and then you might see the install folder here. Then you see this folder, the Bible folder. It has text files with the value of letters, verses, and words of the Bible in Hebrew and Greek, and the King James. So, and it uses different gematria systems like reduced, ordinal, standard, reverse reduced, reverse ordinal, reverse standard, full reduced, full ordinal, full standard. And the English does not use the full versions of these, or version of these. So if I want to get the value of the first verse of the Bible in Hebrew, I can just input V1. V stands for verse. And it will give me the value of all words added of that verse, which is 37 times 73. And if I want the first word, I can just input W1. And if I want the first letter, I can just input L1. Or L with a big capital L. No, that doesn't work. Just L1 in not capital letters. Alright, so if I want to get, I can do calculations with these, right? You can do formula calculations with these and all, with everything. If I want, because it automatically gets from the Hebrew and Greek Bible. If we want from the King James, I think you just input KGB to get King James, and now you can see I get King James values. So this is standard verse number 1 of the English King James Bible. If I want ordinal instead, I can just OB1 and I get that. If I want reduced, I get RB1. If I want reverse reduced, I get RR1. If I want reverse ordinal, I just get RO. If I want reverse standard, it is RS. If I want full, but full is not used in King James, so we have to go back to the Hebrew and Greek and then just input Hebrew. And FR is full reduced. FO is full ordinal. FS is full standard. And you can do like O plus ordinal plus standard, or reduced plus ordinal plus standard, and so on. You can print formulas. Print NX, NX 8 order 100. Order stands for the order you want to print this sequence of this formula up to. Let's just make it a bit more interesting like that. And press enter, and sequence written to export. And you go to the folder you installed the calculator, because that's where, and you will find the file here, and it's listed like this. So if you open it in Notepad++, you will actually see the order of every number like this neatly. So you just need Notepad++ to see that when you want to do research in your formulas that you generate here. Now, but you can take this up a level, or take this up a notch. You can generate your own database with your own formula and fetch numbers or orders from that database, as we have done with primes and triangles, and yeah, you can do with all kinds of things in this tool. So let's do that. Generate. Let's see if I can remember this correctly. I think it's generate and then the name you're gonna call this, excuse me. Let's call them diacons. That is just a made up name for something. And then next comes the formula. And let's say this is n xt times n x7. Okay. And then you go order 100. The higher order you take here, the longer it will take to generate this file. So let's just take 100. And yes, formula diacons generated. Let's try this out now. Diacon 37. See, it didn't work, so maybe I I call it diacons, not diacon. Yeah, that was a tiny mistake, but it works. Yeah, superb. So, diacons 73, and it works. So it's a great tool, but we're not completely done yet. We have some more interesting features. You have the conversion. So con 100 kg, kilos, and you get libras, and you just conv, that is the command, convert. Conv 100 meters, and you get feet. Conv 100 pounds, how do you say pounds? Don't remember. Let's try 100 km kilometers. I think it's just km then. Yeah, that is converts to miles. So it's handy both for Americans and Europeans here. And you can convert all sorts of stuff. It's in the help file. In fact, we can just pull it up here. Here's the conversions. And then you have the final thing I want to take up here, and that's other functions. And you can do square root of a number, let's say number 37. You just do that, sqt. You get it. You can round up, you can round down, you can sort numbers from lowest to highest, you can sort from highest to lowest, you can find possible combinations of a sequence. So let's find all possible combinations of all words, of the 7 words in the first verse of the Bible. You just separate the word values or the values by comma. So you see, doing this won't work. What you gotta do, if you just click on the result, no matter what it is, you will copy it. So you just paste it into a text file, and there you go. And it shows geometrical connections also here, and primes. So it's will show you all the possible combinations of the input. And you can do this for instead of all permutations, you can do paired permutations. So now it finds all combinations from 1 order to 2. So this is the first and second, this is the second and third, this is the third and fourth, and then goes to last, and then begins from there. So yeah, now you can do the same here, and this works for both functions possible. You can search a factor or prime factor, and I'll show you how to do that. So now I've input what you've seen before, and I just add 37 here if I want to find prime factor combinations made up of 37. So here there are 21 combinations made up of 37, because normally when people in Bible codes show you this, they include the individual word values. You don't do that here. You can do that, I think. Let me check that. No, you can't do that. Maybe I can add that if anyone wants to have that. I can probably add that if people want to have that. But it's a great. So you can search like this in a possible period also. Now the final thing I have to show with this very advanced calculator. What was that? There was one more thing I had to show here. Let me check the help file. Yeah, I always forget that one. So, if you're gonna check a lot of calculations regarding primes and geometry, you can do it very quickly with this program. You can just input math 37 if you want to find order 37, and you get this. You get this listed with prime number 37, composite number 37, Pythagorean prime number 37, happy number 37, lucky number 37, and so on, rectangle 37, triangle number 37, square number 37, pentagon number 37, and so on, up to 10 sides, decagon number 37, and then you get the centered versions of these. Then it lists polygrams, and here I see a tiny error, or not error, but these should be switched sides, so that is coming in an update. And then you get the combined here if you're interested in that, if that feature is enabled. So yeah, you can also do, instead of one order, you can do math 7, 37, 73 here, and it will add these orders. So now we get prime number 7 plus prime number 37 plus prime number 73 here. So yeah, it's a tool that allows for extreme productivity in many areas, you might say. It's meant to make things go really fast instead of using formulas and all the time if you love this stuff, if you're interested in this stuff. So you have this ultimate tool to do your calculations and even generate the images of the polygons or centered polygons. Now you see calculation history doesn't work here. That is because it's too large result field there. So if you start the calculator, once you've activated it with a serial key, you see you can't go into calculation history right away. You have to input the number first. Just input something, and then you can go in to calculation history. And here you'll see all the calculations, and you can scroll or you can search, and you can clear all or export. So yeah, I hope you liked the calculator. If you want to buy this, you can go to my website 777codes.com. That is primarily about gematria. And you can click on Holy Geometry Studio and buy via the lemonsqueezy.com website, because that's more secure than selling from my own website. So you log in there at Lemon Squeezy and then you can buy the product. So I hope you found this interesting. This tool started as a calculator over a year ago, I think around 14 months ago. And I've just been working with this for a long time and a lot of work, and it it came over all expectations. So it's an incredible tool. There are several things I could more things I could say about this calculator. You have macros. You have some settings here if you want to show decimal or hexagonal or binary. But the help file is the most important thing to remember when you download and install this and read through it. So yeah, thank you for your time, and leave a comment if you like it. Goodbye.